They call it Arizona's bloodiest cabin, a place so drenched in violence even ghost hunters think twice before visiting. Built in 1858 by German mining engineer Frederick Brunkow, this remote cabin near Tombstone, Arizona was meant to be a simple mining outpost. Instead, it became a slaughterhouse. Brunkow himself was murdered by his own workers, poisoned, shot, and dumped down a mine shaft. And that was only the beginning. Over the years, at least 21 more men met their end here. Miners, prospectors, even outlaws. Their bodies left riddled with bullets or hacked to pieces. Today, Brunkow's cabin is just a pile of crumbling adobe walls, but legends say the ghosts of the victims still linger. If you visit, you might not be alone. So, very cool stop. You can see there wasn't much left, but you could definitely see the place was riddled with bullet holes. Just, it kind of solidifies the stories about the place. And like I said, the exact history and number is kind of unknown. Not everything was recorded back then, but as far as we know for sure, it was at least a minimum of 20. So pretty wild stuff here in the Wild West. And we are going to head to our next stop. So I will meet you guys back at the car. All right, guys, so we are at stop number 2, Tombstone. October 26, 1881, the most famous 30 seconds in Wild West history, the gunfight at OK Corral. Lawmen versus outlaws in a chaotic up-close shootout that left 3 men dead. Billy Clanton, Tom McClary, and Frank McClary. The Earp brothers and Doc Holliday walked away, and just like that, Tombstone went from boomtown to legend. After soaking in all that historical bloodshed, we needed something a little less intense. The kids got ice cream because, well, bribery works. The adults grabbed sandwiches at Mom and Pop's, a no-frills joint serving exactly what you need after walking around in Arizona's sun. Simple, solid food. Not life-changing, but when you're sweating bullets, it hits the spot. The Birdcage Theater, where Wild West didn't just live, it got rowdy and shot up the place. Open 24/7 for 8 years straight, this joint saw gamblers, outlaws, and ladies of the night partying hard. The walls still hold over 140 bullet holes because apparently gun safety was just a suggestion. And then there's Fatima. Her portrait still hangs there, slashed and full of bullet holes. She was a belly dancer back in the day, famous for her performances. Why'd someone try to kill the painting? Drunken dispute? Jealous lover? Who knows? But the damage remains, a permanent reminder that this wasn't exactly a classy establishment. Big Nose Kate's Saloon, named after Doc Holliday's lady who probably didn't have a big nose. This place was once the Grand Hotel where the roughest, toughest, and drunkest of Tombstone hung out. Today it's a tourist-friendly saloon with bartenders in period outfits, plenty of Old West decor, and the occasional over-enthusiastic reenactor. Ever wondered what it's like to be on the wrong side of Wild West justice? Well, in Tombstone you can, sort of. One attraction lets visitors step up to the gallows for a classic Old West-style photo op. It's a bit of dark humor, and judging by the number of people lining up, folks love a good execution, when it's just for show. You even get a death certificate, so I guess that means no more work or taxes, right? Meanwhile, cowboys wander the streets, guiding tourists, spinning guns, and generally making sure the Old West stays alive, at least for the afternoon. Tombstone's Old West section feels like a Western theme park, and depending on your taste, that's either great or a little too polished. The buildings look the part, the dust is real, and there's plenty of staged Wild West action to take in. There's even a second gunfight performance separate from the OK Corral one. where actors go into all the theatrics. If you're here for the Hollywood version of the Wild West, you'll love it. If you're after the raw history, you might find yourself people watching instead. And then there's Boothill Graveyard, final stop for some of Tombstone's most notorious troublemakers. It's got everything: history, tragedy, and a surprising amount of dark humor. Some of the most infamous names of the Wild West are buried here. Billy Clanton, the McClary brothers, who were gunned down in the OK Corral fight. But they aren't alone. Outlaws like Three-Fingered Jack Dunlop and the cattle rustler Billy Grounds rest here too. John Heath, the mastermind behind the Bisbee massacre, got a vigilante-style hanging before finding his final resting place at Boothill. And then there's Dutch Annie, a well-loved madam whose funeral drew more mourners than most of the lawmen buried here. The grave markers are a mixture of history and gallows humor. One of the most famous reads, "Here lies Lester Moore. 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more." It's a place where fact and folklore blur, but one thing's certain: Tombstone's past is quite literally written in stone. Tombstone isn't just a place, it's a Wild West myth that refuses to die. Some of it's authentic, some of it's touristy, and sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. But one thing's for sure, you won't leave without a story.
So definitely a pretty cool stop. Being able to see some of the names on the tombstones that you recognize from throughout history and movies and everything else. And not to mention, we've been to the Clantons the last few days. Getting to see the Clanton's grave was pretty cool. So we've got one more stop for today, so we're gonna head back in the car and head that way.
After touring the graveyard, it does empty you out right into their gift shop, so if you feel so inclined, they did have some pretty neat stuff, as well as a fully stocked drink machine.
All right, guys, so we have made it to stop number 3, downtown Bisbee, Arizona.
Bisbee, Arizona, once a booming mining town, now a quirky mix of history, art, and endless staircases. Founded in 1880, Bisbee quickly became one of the richest mining towns in the world, producing massive amounts of copper, silver, and gold. By the early 1900s, it was one of the largest cities between St. Louis and San Francisco, but like most boom towns, it didn't last forever. First stop, the legendary Copper Queen Hotel. Built in 1902 by Phelps Dodge Corporation, this hotel was meant to bring a touch of luxury to one of the roughest mining towns in the West. With Bisbee's copper boom bringing thousands of miners, investors, and drifters, the hotel quickly became a central hub for high society in a town otherwise filled with saloons and brothels. Over the years, it's hosted politicians, celebrities, and more than a few ghosts. Guests have reported everything from ghostly whispers to full-body apparitions, with some saying the spirit of Julia Lowell, a former lady of the night, still lingers in certain rooms. She's said to appear to male guests whispering in their ears or brushing against them in the night. Then there's the ghost of a little boy, believed to have drowned nearby, who's been seen running through the hallways laughing. And let's not forget the mysterious man in the top hat, who has startled more than a few visitors before vanishing into thin air. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's worth a visit just for the history. Downtown Bisbee is a mix of old mining town grit and modern artistic flair. Back in the early 1900s, this was a bustling center of commerce and lawlessness, home to saloons, brothels, and even a few gunfights. Now it's known for its murals, galleries, and eccentric shops. Across the street, there's Bisbee's Grand Hotel, another historic landmark that once housed miners and travelers looking for a taste of civilization in the Wild West. We didn't go inside, but the exterior alone tells a story.
Okay, so just happened to find this. I was walking by and I saw the stairs leading up, and apparently this is the longest set of stairs in Bisbee. It's 128 steps, and the guy I was just talking to said it actually leads to a pretty cool view. So let's go check it out.
At 128 steps, it's a serious climb, but these staircases weren't just built for exercise. Bisbee's steep landscape make roads nearly impossible, so miners and their families relied on these stairways to navigate the town.
All right, so we made it to the top. Definitely a lot harder than it looks.
The view from the top at Shiprock, worth it? From here, you can see the entire town, a perfect reminder of Bisbee's rugged landscape. Bisbee isn't just about history, it's a shopper's paradise. Antique stores, art galleries, and quirky little shops line the streets, each one packed with personality. Many of the storefronts were once saloons, gambling halls, and general stores catering to the thousands of miners who lived here. And if you're wandering off the main drag, you'll find hidden alleys full of surprises just like they did a century ago. We tried to visit the Bisbee Mining and Historical Museum, but bad timing, it was closed the day we were there. More walking, more history, more art. Even the parking lots here are decorated with murals and creative touches. Bisbee has always been a place of reinvention. When the mines shut down, the artists moved in. If you're into photography, this town is a gold mine. You can't talk about Bisbee without talking about mining. The Copper Queen mine was once one of the richest copper mines in the world, producing over 8 billion pounds of copper. It employed thousands of miners, many who came from Mexico and Europe, hoping to make it rich, or at least make a living. The work was grueling and dangerous, with temperatures inside the mine reaching over 100 degrees and deadly cave-ins being a constant threat. One of the biggest moments in the mine's history was the Bisbee deportation of 1917, when over 1,000 striking miners were rounded up at gunpoint and forcibly shipped out of town on cattle cars. The mine played a pivotal role in the labor movement, and those events left a lasting mark on Bisbee's history. Today, you can tour the tunnels and see firsthand what miners endured daily. We stuck to the exterior, checking out the old mining equipment in the gift shop, but even from the outside, it's clear this mine built Bisbee.
right, guys, so we are at our very last stop. And this one, I gotta tell you, just driving up past it is kind of a holy crap.
Named after Harrison Lavender, the mining engineer who developed it, this open pit mine is a massive man-made crater that transformed Bisbee's landscape forever. It was excavated between 1950 and 1974, producing over 86 million tons of ore and playing a crucial role in Bisbee's economic survival after underground mining declined. The mine's sheer size, nearly a mile wide and 900 feet deep, is impressive, but its impact wasn't just geological. Lavender Pit displaced entire neighborhoods, including Bisbee's historic Chihuahua Hill district. Many homes and businesses were lost in the process, and while it provided jobs for thousands, it also left behind a barren, scarred landscape. Today, the pit's colorful rock formations create a strange beauty, a contrast to its industrial origins. It's a reminder of the boom and bust cycle that shaped Bisbee.
All right, so made it back to camp. Pretty interesting day. Tombstone, just like, if you're going there for the history and to kind of walk where those guys walked, you know, that's one thing. But it's very touristy, trap feeling. Kind of kitschy a little bit. But, you know, it was still cool. Bisbee was definitely, seemed like a better town. It very much reminded me of Deadwood. If you've ever been to Deadwood, it felt very much along that same lines. Very narrow, tall buildings. Very cool town. Lots to do there by the looks of it. Definitely could probably stay a couple of days in the town and do quite a bit. We just kind of did a few of the shops and just wandered around. The stairs going up to, I think that was called Shiprock, if I remember correctly, was pretty intense. Apparently there's a Bisbee 1000 where they go around and they do 1,000 steps. So if you have any interest in doing that, apparently that's coming up in the next month or so. But all in all, very cool stuff, very fun day, packed full. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one.